The next and final set of standard C library functions we're going to look at in this chapter is a couple of functions used for generating random numbers. They can always come in handy, especially if you're writing games. So we've got a function called rand, R-A-N-D, which is used to generate a random number. Well, it's not truly a random number, it's actually a pseudo-random number. And the number will be in the range 0 to rand max. Rand max is a hash defined for you in stdlib.h. It's usually about 32,000 odd. So you'll get a number in the range of 0 to 32,000. And this is how you might use it. It's going to be an integer, so you just say x equals rand, and that's all you do. Now, I said it was a pseudo-random number. Probably the best thing for me to do is to show you an example of that and show you what pseudo-random numbers actually are. And then you'll find that they're not really random enough. You can use a second function called srand, S standing for seed, to seed the random number generator so that you don't get the same random numbers every time. And you just pass it some number. So I guess the best thing for me to do is to show you an example of that so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's random.c, which is a good illustration of that. And we're calling the rand function just here. Notice we need stdlib.h in order to get the prototype for that. And so we simply generate 10 random numbers. Random number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is, and then the number is printed out like that. So let's run that, see what we get, and that's no errors. So we run, and good, we get a good, nice assortment of numbers. Or is it a random assortment of numbers? Well, let's check that. Pay attention just to see if you can memorize, if you like, the first 3 numbers there. And I'll run the program again. Should get a completely different set of numbers, right? Look familiar? Let's try again. Look familiar? Yeah, you're getting exactly the same numbers every time. So that's not really much of a random number generator. They look random, but they're not. So what you need to do is you need to seed the random number generator first. So you do this, srand, and then you pass it some number. So let's pass it the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see what happens. Okay, let's run that. 7584, 19,164. Okay, fine. Let's try that again. Sorry, didn't need to compile it a second time. 7584, 19164. It's again, it's a different set of numbers, but it's the same every time. So what we need to do is provide a different seed every time. Every time we run the program, we want to pass in a different number. Well, what we could do is we could prompt the user and say, please enter a number that's going to represent the seed for the random number generator. But that's quite time-consuming, and I couldn't be bothered doing that. There's a much more convenient way. And this is a trick that just about every programmer uses. You take the current time from the function called time. This is how you call time. Now what time will do is it will generate for you a number. And that number represents, I think it is, well, if you're on a Unix system at least, it's the number of seconds since January the 1st, 1970. So it's a large number. It's a number in the several hundreds of millions or billions or whatever. Anyway, that number of seconds you can use as the seed for your random number generator. And unless you run the program twice within the same second, which you're unlikely to do, you're going to get a different set of random numbers every time. So let's check that. And run. Okay, let's memorize the first couple of numbers just to check that they're going to be different. And again, it looks different this time. And again, they're close. 15089. 15115, 15121. Well, you might like to do some clever processing to your time. I haven't seen that happen before. I've usually seen a much cleverer random number generator seeding than that. I think it's the particular version of the seeding function that's being used with Dev C++. If you try it with yours, I would guess, because I've never seen this behavior before, but I would guess that your random numbers will be much more random than mine. I'll leave it as an exercise for you to try and figure out how you might get those random numbers into a range of, say, 1 to 100. Now, I know that they're currently in the range 0 to 32,000 odd. How do you convert that to get a set of random numbers in the range of 1 to 100? leave that as something for you to think about.